Hello and welcome back. Looks like I found another treasure off the curb. Craftsman 2-stroke weed eater. You just saw in the previous short, because I usually do shorts first, is put some fuel in it. It looks like it's semi-priming. There is an issue with the lines though. The lines are very rough and kinked, as you can tell. So just looking in here, I poured a little bit of fuel in there just to see if it would work. And yeah, the lines are pretty rough right now. And it looks like one of the lines actually broke off inside. So today I wanted to go ahead and replace them. And also, since this carb, it could be questionable inside if I just replace the lines. I actually went on eBay and got a whole little kit. So it basically came with some fuel lines, a brand new carb, and also to tune it. Usually they don't come with the tuning wrench. This one did. And a filter, of course. And a filter and a plug if I want to change out the plug. So I'll try to not make this one too long. We'll see how everything comes out all nicely. These are relatively not horrible to take off. There's a cover filter inside. I'll change it out with the new one, but that's what it looks like. You have essentially 2 bolts. You can use looks like a star bit, or you can just use a flathead. Should have a flathead. Here's a flathead I'll use. I just need probably a hair. Yeah, it's gotta be a hair longer. Too short. Let's try this one. This one is a little bit bigger. Yeah. Take off the bolts, holding everything. There's one. And 2. And that is 2. And that's fairly simple there. Now we just gotta disconnect the throttle, which is just a little Z-bend. You just kind of angle it, and as you can see, it popped right off. So it looks like the primer line completely broke off as soon as I removed it. And it's interesting because this actually came with a gasket like this. I haven't ordered one of these where they actually come with one of those new gaskets for that, so I'll change that out since the new kit comes with it. It's like a little well, this one's yellow, but maybe factory they were blue. Surprisingly, it came with a yellow one, which I've never seen that before. The dozens I've done of these, I've never seen that actually being an issue, but it could be an issue. You never know. So what I'll do now is just I could leave that on attached right now. Because I'm gonna see if I can just pull this out. I'll take out the fuel. There's just a little bit of fuel, as you can see. A little bit of 2-stroke. You can kind of see in there, it's sitting in there. And yeah, it looks like it broke off. Makes sense. It primed a little bit, but it wouldn't fully prime. Get a container for it. Put it back in the container of gas. I'll try to catch as much as I can. It's not dirty inside. Just gotta be careful with it, that's all. Alright, got it out. I see there's a little piece there that's on the bottom there, and then the fuel filter line for that. primer side, but you can see it's definitely leaking. Age. It's usually due to age on these things. So what I'll do is I'll end up pulling this off. That's fine. Just pull off the line. Man, that's on there. Sorry, not to stand there for a second. That was really on there. It broke right off anyways, but really on there. So what I'll do, I'll put this one to the side. It's priming, but put it to the side and we'll replace everything on it. I do have my rheostats. Interesting thing is, I actually got these from Science and Surplus store. These are like doctor types. But they work really well, especially when you get a good grip on it. Sometimes they do slip though, but if you get a good grip on these things pull really well. Way better than pliers, and they don't slip as much. What I want to do, sorry I got that out. Let's grab a little stronger pair of pliers. I wonder if these would probably work better. And like I said, I don't know if this is going to be, there's that. I don't know if this is the OEM parts that came on this, or if this was ever replaced at one point before it was tossed. No biggie though. I'll just match the size of it. Here's the fuel line that came with it for the new carb. And looking at it, it looks to be about the same diameter. You know, I give or take, this is an older line, so no biggie. You just gotta measure it and cut it out a little bit. And then the other line that came with this is probably likely gonna be the same line. If it isn't, I could always just replace the return line, or the priming line, I'm sorry. What I always like to do with these, whenever working on small engines and stuff where you're replacing the lines, is go ahead and just snip it a little bit. I find that if you make an angle on the first little bit, because you got to pull it through anyways, these will go relatively smoothly inside. So, you know, this little section here, and this might take a few times. I'm not necessarily like 100% good at this. It does take me a few minutes sometimes to get to push it through, but once you get it through, that's the challenge, is getting these things through. So this one was for the, there we go. I'll try to shove it in there as much as I can to see if I can see it from the top here, and I do. Let's see if I can possibly grab it with the rheostat. Grab it and lock it. Yeah, it might slip. Try that again. It's slipping. Let me see if I have I do have a thinner, longer pair of pliers. Could grab onto it and just pull it down. If it works. Let's see if I can get it in there a little more. Once you get it started, it just got to be pulled. And like that, I at least got it started. There we go. And like I said, even if it gets mangled a little bit, you just cut off that end. I guess one trick too would be, is if it really is tough. It is cold today, but I don't need too much space with this. You could do a little bit of WD-40, and that'll also help to smooth it in a little bit. I find that it does a better seal though, is if you can just grab it and put it in there. So even if I cut it off, inside the tank it'll be at the bottom. So try to give it just like another little snug type pull. And I'm trying to feed it from the top. And that's really good. And what we can do is just snip it off straight. And what I'll do is I'll add a new fuel filter line, or a new fuel filter, I'm sorry. This came with the kit. I'm going to slide it on top. And stick it back in there. And yeah, that sits perfectly flush on the bottom there. What we can do is see if we can get that last little piece out. And it sits right on the bottom, so that's kind of where I want it to be. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right on the bottom cap. It's not going to move around as much. And then what we can do is just leave this here. You can kind of mock fit it. Actually, what I can do is usually the fuel lines will stick out a little bit, so kind of can see here. It'll usually sit like this. So this will be the back line. So I'll snip it like right around there. I could always trim it to size. It's not a big deal. Which I'll probably have to end up doing anyways. And then what I'll do is do the same thing for the priming side, where I'll have it just stick just barely above the top portion. Actually, this one had a grommet piece. I'm going to see if I can reuse this grommet piece on the inside. I'll first run the hose through, and I'll run it, and then I can run a separate little section of line in there. That'll be enough. And actually, surprisingly, this line, perfect size for all this. Just enough if you didn't want to order extra line and whatnot. This is a lot of trial and error with this. I've done this a few times. First time I did it though, I wasn't that fast with it. It probably took me about an hour or two. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. Should be another little line right here, slot. And I think I might have an angle there for it. If I can grab it. Actually, you know what? I have angle pliers where they have a slight bend. These usually will work pretty well as well, just by trying to grab this top portion of the line. Just more or less just trying to see it from the top. I think I'm pushing it out. Yeah, so this one I'm gonna have to mess around with for a little bit, but what I'll do is I'll stop the video right here. Let me just get everything together. Honestly, it's just going to be reattaching it. I'll put on the new carb. As soon as I get everything lined up correctly, I'll put on the new carb. Gaskets are going to be obviously replaced, and then what I'll do is I'll do a second part to this video. We'll see, make sure it runs and idles, and if we have to set the high and low screws, we have the tool to do it. So I'll try to do it. I know it's about 40 degrees today, so I'm not going to try to mess too much with the speed on them because the weather is a little different. So I will return shortly on this one. Stay tuned.